What's going on, man? This is Temperature Check. I am your host as always, man, Mr. Check the Temperature. How you guys doing today? So, again, before we get started, like I do each and every video, man, I have to continue to thank you guys. You are the reason I have to upload the content because you're constantly watching it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you're new to the channel, man, have a seat. The only way you can have a seat with us is by subscribing to the channel. So make sure that you stay locked in by doing just so. Hit that bell button for me one time. Let's get right off into it, man. So, coming off of what I consider to be a culture shifting performance and a culture shifting battle between Daylight and Tay Roc. Tay Roc took to 15 Minutes of Fame, man. Shout out to Uncle Ryan, everything he got going over on 15 Minutes of Fame, man. Go subscribe to that channel, man. One of my favorite channels to watch. But he let us know, Tay Roc let us know in 15 Minutes of Fame exactly who he wanted. Murder Mook, can I have a conversation with you, sir? Please, a little bit of your time. Come talk to us. Come have a seat with the battle rap community, because somebody's outside. Somebody wants to talk to you personally. However, I'll be honest with me, when I first saw this, I thought it was a little weird for him to kind of jump out the window like that for a Murder Mook when the battle rap community has been craving the Murder Mook and Briz Rawsteen battle for almost a year now. Would it be a year in August? I want to say it'd be a year next month since the fall off from Summer Impact. However, Briz is not currently battling. You know what I'm saying? Prayers up to Briz. I saw that he lost one of his best friends growing up, so definitely prayers to him. But I think given the history of Murder Mook and Roc, plus the climate in which they would be battling in, you're talking about a very small room, as we saw on Saturday, with a limited crowd, if a crowd at all. This is what we want to see. This is the battle right here. You're not talking about a battle with Murder Mook and Tay Roc. You're talking about a grown man and a grown man having a conversation. Stepping outside, away from everybody else. Come talk to me. You've been talking real heavy in these streets. Come talk to me. Come have a conversation. Let me check your temperature and see if you really who you say you are. So I think this is a perfect setting, because if we didn't see anything else, if we don't know anything else about them small rooms during the pandemic, you can hear or not hear every single word. And that's exactly what we want, man. We want to be able to hear what they got to say to each other. And we want to be able to break down every word, every bar, every simile, double entendre, angle, freestyle, whatever, rebuttal, whatever they throw at each other. We want to be able to hear that. And again, man, you got to really just shout out Roc and give Roc a lot of credit for reinventing himself and turning into what he is called the modern day Dracula. I think it was genius for him to do so, and it was something I think that was needed, man. You have to kind of look at battle rap right now as a mainstream sport, and there's definitely some WWE entertainment far as you want to make sure that you stand out amongst the others. So you want to create a storyline, and you want to bring something to the performance that when everyone leaves, they will remember that. And I think that Roc turning into Dracula does just that. I also think battling Daylight gave Roc the added confidence he needs to start attacking some of these God tiers. If you look at Roc's resume, man, Roc has been around the URL for a very long time, and honestly, he's the face of the URL. I know that he battled Geechee, and that was to be like the battle of who's the face of the URL. I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's still Tay Roc. Obviously, Geechee is definitely closing that gap at a very fast pace, but it's still Tay Roc. We can't negate his legacy and what he's done and the moments that he's given us in this community. So I definitely think Daylight was able to help him elevate to a level that Daylight wanted to see Roc at. Again, Daylight was up here. His performance is up here. It's up in the, you can even see the shadows. Roc's was close, but it was close, but it wasn't there yet. But we still got to give him respect, because I don't think anyone else on that card would have even gotten a round off of Daylight, including Lux. But let's get off into the history of this whole Mook and Tay Rock beef. So this story actually dates back to when they were actually in a group together. If you didn't know, Tay Rock was at one point in time a member of Dot Mob, obviously alongside Murder Mook, Rex, and Shine. But it seems that as Tay Rock actually came into battle rap and was legitimizing himself as a Dot Mob member, Murder Mook was phasing out. So that pretty much left them with 3 members, and then T-Rex kind of phased out of battle rap a little bit, and then K-Shine was taking battles here and there, but I think he even kind of phased out for a little bit, maybe due to a couple situations and things of that nature. But you still had Tay Rock standing pretty much solo dolo, really waving that Dot Mob flag and creating a lane of legitimacy for their brand. And so what ended up ensuing was, as Mook wasn't around battling, Tay Rock started to climb up. He was getting those big name battles, and he was doing well in them, and he was definitely taking the David versus Goliath approach and knocking down a lot of Davids along the way. But then it takes us to the Hitman Holla and Tay Rock battle, where Murder Mook actually places a $500 bet on Tay Rock to beat Hitman, which is great. But when the battle actually happens, Hitman feels as if he's won. He goes to the polls. The polls have Hitman beating Tay Rock. So Mook eventually pays this amount of money to Hitman, but all the while, the controversy of him actually paying puts a spotlight on that battle, and he proceeds to go on 15 Minutes of Fame and really kind of throws Rock under the bus. It says that his gun bars have been exposed. They were exposed by that Goods battle. And that kind of frustrated Rock and definitely frustrated him, to the point that Mook even said that Goods flustered him. Now, I'll be honest, I watched that battle a couple times, and I would have to agree with Murder Mook. Rock, you got flustered, bro. Like, honestly, that was the first time I ever saw you get booed on stage, so I definitely thought it was something there. Something definitely was there. But then Rock calls Mook disloyal and drops his Dot Mob flag after watching the 15 Minutes of Fame interview. He felt betrayed. He didn't understand why Murder Mook felt the need to bring up his battle and throw stones at him. So Rock proceeds to tell Mook, "Who did you help? Not one of us," which was a reference to the Mook and Averb battle, which Tay Rock actually go ahead and lets the battle rap community know that he actually had Mook losing the Averb, but again, he just didn't say it out in public because that was his Dot Mob ally at one point in time. Mook then in turn calls out Rock for always having an underlying problem with him. He basically states, "There's no way this one interview I did, if you heard it in its entirety, makes you feel that this way about me. So if you already been feeling it this way about me, you must have been feeling it the whole time, and you just was waiting for the opportunity to say something." I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'll leave y'all up to that to decide. I'm not here to decipher that, but I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some truth to that. You can't be the head honcho and not think that the little guy working his way up ultimately wants to take your spot, and there's only one way to take your spot, and that's to kill shit. Sorry. So fast forward to Summer Impact, man. You got Murderland versus Dark Life. Obviously, the fight breaks out between both sides. And then post-fight allegations of Rock not helping Briz during the fight surfaces. Rock, which then creates a back and forth between Rock and T-Rex, who is a member of Dot Mob still, and that culminates in a battle where Tay Rock pretty much destroys T-Rex. I mean, it really wasn't that close. He beat him clearly. But then Murder Mook goes on My Expert Opinion with Matt Hoffa, Misfit, Knowledge the God. Shout out to them and everything they got going on their channel. And he poses a question, and he asks, "How do you like battlers that talk about a life they don't live?" Referencing the Summer Impact situation, making claims that Rock did nothing, allegedly. Now, he's not saying he needed him, you know what I'm saying, with picking up guns and shooting shit up. But in the same breath, you know what I'm saying, if my homie get into a fight, I'm in there, especially if it ain't one-on-one. Especially if it ain't one-on-one. And I mean, if I got to take an ass whooping, that's just what I got to do. We both got to go down fighting together. And that's the level of expectation. So I think Rock has this career-changing performance against Daylight. And now he has his eyes locked on Mook. And I'll be honest, I think in the room, him watching Loaded Lux gave him that confidence. He was like, my rounds could have beat Loaded Lux tonight. Now, again, that's just that one night. So I'm not about to sit here and say Rock could beat Loaded Lux if Loaded Lux was rapping to Rock. But if you were to compare the rounds given on Saturday, like Lux, you would have got 3-0, buddy. It wouldn't even been close. It wouldn't even been close. It would have been casket dropped on you. So my honest opinion, man, Mook, you better watch your ass. You better watch your ass because he's on your heels. He is on your heels. I think Rock just stood toe-to-toe with arguably the best battle rapper in the world right now, and you can't say, although you know he lost, you can't say he did bad. I personally believe, given the pressure that Rock was under for this particular battle, I personally believe he may have had battle of the night. Obviously, he didn't win his match, but if you think about the pressures going in he's going against Daylight, who everyone knew was a killer. Daylight already telling you, look, I'm about to levitate on you, so you better meet me somewhere near Saturn, which I heard them solar system schemes y'all have for each other. We're going to get into that in the next video or two, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it for sure. So I think this is a situation ultimately, like, you ever had like a big brother or a big sister and they always whooped your ass? And for years, you always just waited and waited and waited for that moment to where you could really show them what you got. So you started eating right, you know what I'm saying, getting in the gym, lifting weights, training, maybe doing a little boxing, working on your hands, working on your feet. And that one day comes where big brother or big sister decides that they want to test you. And you punch them in the face. Now, they whipped your ass, but you made them bleed. And I think that's what Rock saw on Saturday. He saw that he could punch a God tier, because let's not make a mistake about it. Daylight is definitely God tier level. He punched a God tier in his face, and he bled. That gave him all the confidence he needed going into the Mook battle, because he knows, I'll be honest with you, Mook can't beat Daylight. I don't see it. Not that Daylight, not the Daylight that just took 3 years off, and that's what he came around with. So you telling me he's about to go up even more? No, absolutely not. I don't think he's conditioned like that. But this is the type of confidence I like to see in Rock, though. This is that old Rock. Forget all the antics. Forget all the stuff that was happening with the chain and the other allegations I'm not going to talk about. This is the type of Rock that everyone loves to see, that everyone fell in love with. We even had the oversized fitted hat, the oversized flat bill. It was like an 8.5 on his head. That thing was just out there just, it was out there just floating. But he performed well, man. So I'm interested. What do you think your take is on it? Do you want to see Tay Rock versus Murder Mook, or would you rather see Murder Mook versus Briz? Again, like I said, I'd rather see Tay Rock versus Murder Mook now, because it'll be in a small setting. But when we get back to where we can have larger crowds, Briz and Mook, I'm here for that one. So, man, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, man. I am Mr. Check the Temperature, and this is Temperature Check, and that's all we do here, and I am out. Y'all be great.